Great. So I'd like to welcome everyone to the webinar today on the Conversion Trinity, Mastering SEO, PPC, and Conversion-Centric Design for Maximum Impact. I'm your host today. My name's Harvey Tate. I'm the project officer over here at Academy XI. I focus on a lot of the B2B programs of work and process improvement across the organization. Here at Academy XI, we look to empower individuals and organizations through future-ready digital skills and consultancy in courses like design, business, and technology. Before we kick things off properly, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land in which we meet today and pay our respects to their elders, both past and present. We recognize and celebrate the continuing connection of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples to country, culture, and community, and their enduring contributions to knowledge, language, and innovation across generations. We extend that respect also to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples joining us today. So we are joined here today by Georgia Tan, the co-founder and head of search at SwitchKey Digital. So I'd like to invite you, Georgia, to introduce yourself in SwitchKey Digital also. Hi.
Yeah, it's great to be on the webinar today, Harvey. I'm excited to talk more about the Conversion Trinity. Yeah, as you said, I'm the co-founder, head of search at SwitchKey Digital. We're one of the first agencies dedicated to search experience optimization, digital marketing and design, really focused on turning clicks into customers. I'm also the founder of Women in SEO and Digital Marketing in Sydney. We'll be running an event in partnership with you guys later on this year. So I have something at the end about that as well, and also an international speaker on digital marketing. So yeah, really excited to jump into it. I think, for anyone attending today, feel free to pop any questions into the chat or just any thoughts, reactions as we go along. And then we'll have the time at the end where we can just open up the floor. If you guys have any questions, or I can go through what's in the chat, if there's anything. Yeah. Okay, awesome. So we'll jump straight into it. So let's imagine you've been given a huge pile of Lego bricks and you've just been told to build like the most amazing house ever. Like there's no instructions, no plan, just bricks. So that sounds chaotic, right? So this Lego analogy, we're going to be focusing on this today. It really perfectly illustrates what many businesses do with their online marketing. They're investing in, SEO, in PPC, pay-per-click, and UX design. But often these efforts are like scattered bricks, they're disjointed. There isn't really that cohesive plan that drives conversions. They're really missing that blueprint for turning visitors into customers. So today we'll be talking about how to transform like that chaos into more of a masterpiece, like how to actually build that strong foundation and actually create an effective online presence that converts your target audience into customers. So here are the three pillars we'll be talking about in the Conversion Trinity: SEO, search engine optimization, PPC, pay-per-click, and UX design. So each plays a vital role, and you guys are probably already working in teams across all of them, but often in their own silos. But really, like these channels really do have that same ultimate goal: converting your customers, making them buy that product, sign up to that service, opt into your channels. And so we'll be talking about how that Conversion Trinity is really the solution, how we can actually have more of a connected system to achieve that common goal. And that's really going to help to drive that sustainable growth, especially in the age of AI now, where there's so many demands on marketers to take things to the next level and really get that ROI. So we're going to get the Conversion Trinity as our building blueprint. And in that Lego analogy, that Conversion Trinity is going to be our blueprint to turn these areas into that solid functional structure. So it's going to be this plan that's going to help us combine the three elements: SEO, focusing on improving your website visibility through organic search results, and also through generative engines, AI search, pay-per-click, where you might be paying for ads. That could be through Google ads, could be Meta ads, for example, to get more targeted traffic through your paid advertising campaigns. And that user experience, optimizing the overall experience users have across your website, across your apps. So just in case, we're not familiar, use the example, pay per click, what you might see on the search results at the top there with the chocolate bar example. And here as well, more for a local service in Sydney, where you can see that sponsored section and that school ad too. And often, I guess people don't really talk a lot about how we can bring these disciplines together. So some of the key benefits of doing this is having that consistent branding and messaging across all channels, that unified user experience, and that maximized ROI. From that PPC side, an example where there could be silos currently would be, say, you're bidding from Google Ads on keywords where you might already be ranking your website organically. So in that case, you might be competing with yourself for the same spot, and you might possibly redirect your Google Ads budgets to other places where you're not really ranking organically. Another example for UX could be where UX changes, like implementing an infinite scroll on your website, might make it harder for search engines to actually basically read and index all your content. And an SEO example could be where we're targeting these high volume keywords, but from the Google Ads side, we can see that they're actually not going to convert well. So there could be some poor targeting there. And so shifting from what we shouldn't do or what might be currently happening to like a powerful real life success story. Here's a good case study that showcases a service business that actually achieved great growth by implementing the Conversion Trinity. So essentially, they started as a brand new website with minimal site authority, no organic traffic, but by actually combining the SEO, PPC, and website design, they're able to achieve great business results. So in terms of what they actually did, definitely this was a multifaceted and integrated approach. So we can see implementing that local SEO, optimizing the Google Maps, focusing on content and credibility to really highlight the unique selling proposition really, really clearly. Also addressing technical and off-page optimization, and also having that targeted Google Ads campaign to boost visibility and drive traffic. And what did we see? Even in just the 3 months of this window, this local service business saw a huge improvement in local rankings, even achieving a #1 spot in a primary service area. We saw a great increase around 300% in organic traffic and significant conversion growth, like going from, say, 1 conversion a week to 5 to 10 conversions per day. And in terms of the SEO strategy, we can also look at that organic keyword growth over time and see that dramatic increase in organic keywords from when the campaign started in like mid-August and the Conversion Trinity campaign launched to getting a lot more visibility for relevant terms. This really helped them to attract a much wider audience. You can also see how the Conversion Trinity helps to increase your non-branded organic traffic, which really shows that we're expanding the company's reach to users searching for relevant services, even if they weren't already familiar with the brand, but were looking for a specific solution or had a specific problem in mind. And it's also great to see that significant rise in commercial and local keywords, which really indicates that strong purchase intent. And this really shows how the Conversion Trinity can help attract a highly qualified audience who are much more likely to convert. So overall, yeah, some key benefits. You can see a reduction in ad spend waste by focusing on the right keywords and user journeys and collaborating with SEO on what to prioritize across the channels. It can also help to improve organic rankings through that optimized content and site structure, and improve conversion rates across all channels by having that more seamless user experience. So how does each element of the Trinity actually impact the conversion funnel? Like, you guys would probably be familiar with the conversion funnel, that journey from initial awareness to final purchase and after sale loyalty as well. So we can see that, SEO helps people find your website through organic search, through generative search in that awareness stage, and help customers become aware of your brand, what you offer. And PPC will be particularly strong, driving that interest and desire for people who are already searching for relevant queries, and you want to quickly capture the attention and create that desire for your product or service. And now design is also critical to then drive that desire and action from your website, creating that engaging experience to really take users and encourage them to take that action and convert. So essentially, we can see that each stage in this funnel, can definitely think of it like a different room in our Lego home, where you're guiding visitors through their journey from entering the front yard to exploring the living room, getting hungry, and sitting down for dinner at home. So you can think about how we can optimize each of these rooms or stages to take that desired action. Okay, so let's bring this all together, and we'll start by looking more at SEO. So this can be considered like the base plate of the Conversion Trinity, and is essentially like the groundwork, optimizing your website to be more visible and get more traffic. And especially in the last year or two, SEO has been evolving so much, more important now than ever, with AI search, with people searching on generative engines like ChatGPT instead, seeing that we're really moving from a focus on that traffic approach to one that's highly focused on conversions, where we recognize that it's really focusing on that right kind of traffic and users who are actually interested and will be coming to your website that are more likely to convert and take action. So some quick examples here of the differences. Traditionally, SEO, you might see a focus more on keywords, prioritizing rankings over user experience, and looking at the volume of keywords. Whereas now with conversion-focused SEO, it's so important to pick your the topics based on user intent, and think about how you can measure your overall success by looking at business leads, sales, and ROI, and really trace it back to the channel. So that really, really helps ensure your website will attract qualified leads, drive revenue. In terms of PPC, the specialized pieces of the Conversion Trinity, you can think of that like a targeted and immediate boost to your online marketing efforts. And that really helps you to quickly reach your target audience. And even just how SEO is evolving, so is PPC, where we move more from that reach and broader focus to that conversion focus as well. about getting users to the right products, not just attracting them to look at your store. So a quick example here where, in traditional PPC, you might have broader audience targeting, higher volume keywords, more siloed landing pages. Whereas with more conversion focused PPC, you want to be as precise as possible and create those high converting landing pages that are going to really attract the right clicks that lead to conversions. And then in terms of design, you can definitely consider that more of the overall architectural blueprint or aesthetic of the Conversion Trinity. From this mindset, also seeing that shift more from the overall experience focus to a conversion focus. So often traditionally design will prioritize that smooth and user-friendly experience and focus on ease of use, which is great. But in the Conversion Trinity, we also recognize that design does play a crucial role in driving conversions. So the key difference is really, having that intentional focus on conversions, even in the design actions you take, and looking at every design element as crafted to guide a user to a desired business action. So how they support each other. I think often we don't really think about how SEO, how PPC and design, like how they actually impact. And there's quite a lot to it. So I'll go through this quickly. In terms of how SEO can actually guide UX design, it can actually help with determining site structure and navigation, content optimization and search intent, things like page speed and web performance, and even information architecture, like for example, guiding like category page design. In terms of SEO, helping PPC, that can help with informing the keyword targeting, improving, refining the ad copy and messaging to create something that's really compelling and is going to increase click-through rates. Also with landing page optimization to help guide the design to maximize conversion rates. And overall, SEO and PPC can work together to actually just get more presence on the search results, get more attention, more visibility. Now, on the other side of that, in terms of how PPC can support SEO, PPC can also help to really identify the right keywords, look at what's converting. You can actually quickly test as well from your Google, for example, Google Ads, ad copy, like what messaging, what visuals are actually converting, and that can then inform your SEO messaging on your website. And together, by also running your PPC, that can also help to drive more branded searches, more awareness, and actually help indirectly improve your organic rankings too. And in terms of PPC and design, we can see that can also help to inform, like through quickly doing some A/B testing, like which landing page design is actually converting better, which creatives and visuals are doing better, and also look at the best CTAs, which you can then refine on your website. So now here's an example of, I guess, that disconnect between the three elements. So this is from Ahrefs for the New York Craigslist, and you can see that on the surface level, like the domain rating, the site authority is high, out of 100 is great, and it's got more than 700,000 sessions of traffic per month. So that seems decent. But then if we look at how the page actually looks, there's a missed opportunity to maximize conversions. Like, how well is something like this for Craigslist going to convert in 2025? where we see this website is really suffering from more of a siloed approach, I guess inconsistent branding. It's kind of an unguided experience. There's not really like much messaging or optimization for any sort of desired action of conversions here. And then like looking more closely at these listings, how trustworthy would you guys think they are? Like, would you want to contact and meet these sellers? So yeah, so you can see that how the design is so important as well. And design can also help on the SEO side, because like key UX metrics, like having intuitive navigation, clear site structure will help to reduce bounce rate, keep people on your site visiting more pages more. Site speed is also super important. Mobile friendliness and accessibility for SEO too. And through your UX research, you can definitely identify more, say, zero volume keywords that customers actually really want to know about. And these can be that gold mine to get valuable insights. And in terms of PPC, design can definitely help to create those high converting landing pages with great CTAs, with mobile responsive layouts, and really ensure that visual consistency between the ads and the landing page. And you can also do more A/B testing of landing page elements to get the optimization even better. So here's another example where, purely from that SEO point of view, again, the performance metrics, they might seem, like okay on the surface, but for this site, did you imagine this? Do you imagine the site looking like that? And on mobile, it isn't much better. But we see that lack of integration with design and other elements really hindering the site's ability to drive conversions. So yeah, you can really see how SEO, PPC, and design are super interconnected. And it's important to also consider two sets of this, where you have your channel specific optimization, which basically just means you want to make each individual channel work really effectively on its own for conversions. And then you also have your cross-channel optimization, which is how can we actually work better together? How can we share data and insights between channels to have that synergistic effect? So we'll be going through a few key tips on that. I also want to mention I've got like a free Conversion Trinity self-scoring checklist available at the end that I'll share with you guys, that you can score your own company website and see how you're going across the three different channels and how they're working together as well. So we're going to go through more actionable steps here and thinking about how we're moving to more of those advanced building techniques and practical guidance on optimizing your channels. So yeah, SEO and UX, again, often seem as separate, but really intertwined, essentially because both really need to satisfy user needs and the needs of AI to understand your site quite well. So this conversions really means that to boost conversions, you really need to communicate your unique value. It sounds really obvious, but still definitely overlooked, that in today's competitive market, it's so important to have that clear, unique selling proposition, clear differentiation, that compelling messaging to really attract the right customers and think like what makes you the best choice for your customers. It's also super important to build credibility across all channels. So that could be through credentials and expertise, things like certifications, qualifications, also through social proof, which could be testimonials, reviews, case studies, user-generated content, potentially, and also through trust signals. So some examples here from these websites where they really clearly communicated that. Also super important to look at mobile friendliness for user engagement with so much of online traffic being from mobile. So thinking about like responsive layouts, easy touch navigation, and making sure to really test that across multiple devices. So here's an example of a bookstore that basically didn't really optimize for mobile responsiveness. So you can see in the desktop design, the CTA for read the blog is very large and it's more prominent than the category labels underneath the banner. But in the mobile design, yeah, the CTA hasn't really been resized properly, which leads that read the blog to be so much smaller than the elements further down the page. Another really important one is still optimizing for page speed to avoid users bouncing, because users will expect that fast loading. Attention spans are still decreasing, and both search engines or even AI agents who are coming to your website will still be prioritizing and still needing this. So some more technical strategies here about how to optimize for page speed. Another really important one is actually making sure you utilize your homepage as best as possible for conversions. This can often be overlooked or forgotten to be updated because the homepage has a lot that will change quite quickly for any business. So on the left here, we can basically see that for Zara, above the fold, like above the yellow section, there isn't really any clear CTA. So there's not really any user action that's being encouraged. Whereas on the right-hand side with H&M, we can see that immediately above the fold, they have CTAs to encourage looking at different categories and displaying featured products, information, and prices. So just, make it really easy for users to take the next step, make it super clear. Another one kind of similar to this is maximizing your above the fold first impression on any page, basically. So in this example, we've got two wine auction websites, Langton's and Gray's. So again, you can see on the left, like above the fold, there's a clear brand presence. You can see the product cards for wine with some filters, and you can actually see the bid now CTA. Whereas on the right-hand side, before you scroll, you won't actually be able to see any of the featured products, information, or CTAs. So definitely a huge difference in what you can do above the fold to immediately convey the brand, the value proposition, and what the user should do immediately. Yeah, also important to optimize things like navigation for conversions. That can really help. So for example, in this case, with the verb, having breadcrumbs, so it's easy to jump back into other sections of the site. In this New York Times example, having that secondary menu, this mega menu, so that readers can easily go to like key topics and categories that they're really, really interested to read about. And one that's often overlooked as well is actually making both the top category and the ones underneath clickable. So it's really easy to get to where any readers want to go. Other things to consider is there's a lot you can do with how you actually design, how you place and message your CTAs for conversions. So some quick ones here, really important to always have that active language, have visual impact with high contrast colors, for example, make it really concise with the copy. Make sure you place them strategically throughout the page. Don't forget about the middle and don't overload as well. Integrate like direct contact options, like phone numbers, for example. That's important. And place trust signals near to the CTA will really, really help to build that credibility and get people to take the action you want. There's some examples of that here. The simple language, much better. Having the contrasting colors for prominence. Having the correct sizing of the CTA and surrounding text. The use of white space as well. Where you place the CTA, the order, what's around it, super important. And also having unique, high quality and personalized visuals and videos to support the brand. Where possible, I always recommend to use genuine or unique visuals. Stock photos definitely don't perform as well from what I've seen. So just swapping that out can be a huge change. And making sure that if you're using like AI generated images, that it's still consistent and relevant to the brand message. So we'll also look at a couple of quick channel specific tactics. So basically, especially now for SEO, where I really see the wins would be focusing on your commercial keywords first for maximum conversions in your strategy. For paid, keeping that in mind too, like you're focusing on conversions, which may sound obvious, but some things here would be making sure that you're optimizing both the ads and the website landing page, making sure there's consistent messaging across both, continuing to actually iterate on that and make sure you're tracking like meaningful conversion goals, like whether that's like form submissions or calls rather than like vanity metrics, like a page load or just a session visit. And for design, always just keeping top of mind how we can create those user-centric and conversion-focused experiences. So here's an interesting thing about how humans view web pages. In a culture that reads from left to right, you'll see that we always read in an F pattern or Z pattern. So make sure when you're optimizing a landing page that your 1, 2, and 3 should be that above the fold hook of your page. And you can also check, and really important to look at accessible design. There's actually this contrast checker plugin in Figma that you can easily check for compliance with WCAG 2.2 as well. Things like the form best practices. So, once you have that CTA, how does the user actually finish that process? Making sure your forms provide helpful error messages, progress indicators, and just as easy to fill out as possible. And overall, make sure that every page is purpose-driven, aligns with that user intent, and often overlooked, making sure that that purpose is reinforced through the visual hierarchy throughout the page. And then make sure that, we're always evaluating how it's going to keep refining, because things are always changing all the time. So here's the example of a purpose-driven page. It's using that Z pattern and also that ADA framework, attention, interest, desire, action above the fold, which is a great one to follow. And in terms of how we can actually do cross-channel, like how we can actually work better together across your teams, across the silos, essentially, is thinking about, I guess, having more cross-team training, having more consistent communication channels. So for example, these are just simple suggestions. Thinking about how within your company, you could have more weekly sync up meetings between different channels to get those insights, to brainstorm ideas. Even just establishing a regular communication channel for all updates and making sure there's two-way communication or three-way communication, and having just a central place where like you could be project managing, having transparent tasks that you share, or implementing a shared calendar can really, really help too. So here's more of that matrix where you can really, really see that how each channel contributes to the research, creation, and optimization phases of the Conversion Trinity. And then in terms of the data side, every organization is going to face that fragmented data, which can skew results. So having a way to centralize the data for like a unified intelligence and having a single source of truth is really, really important. So one example here is having more of that centralized dashboard where like all the key metrics important for each team at a granular level, and then more of a top line for the business are ideally all in one easy place for everyone. And also just making sure that you can have shared feedback loops across teams, or having post-campaign reviews together, and having shared testing can really, really help to just promote more of that collaboration. And so here's more of a bunch of, there's a lot of metrics to consider across the funnel that are important to really, really measure your performance overall and your progress across, the traffic, engagement, and user behaviors, and conversion drivers as well. So overall, implementing the Conversion Trinity is going to really help to align your SEO, PPC, and UX design efforts, and think about how you can prioritize more of that conversion focused optimization across your channels, and how you can share that data and create more of that user-centric experience across them. And by doing this, you'll be well on your way to achieving that sustainable growth in this AI-driven era and really maximize your marketing ROI. So hope you can now go out and build more of your own masterpiece and create something remarkable. So thanks for everyone that's joined today and listening. Feel free to connect with me if we aren't connected yet on LinkedIn, which is here. And I'll just quickly mention as well, we also have our upcoming event in partnership with Academy XI on October 2nd. We've got early bird tickets ending the end of this week. So if you're interested, definitely look us up on LinkedIn or the QR code here. You can look at our Eventbrite page. And finally, if anyone's interested as well, you've got that self-audit to think about how you can self-score and start your own Conversion Trinity for scanning here. And open to any questions from the attendees, from Harvey, or anything that you want to drop into the chat as well.
Awesome. Thank you for that. I did have one quick question. I guess looking ahead, how do you think factors like AI-driven search are going to do you think they're going to change the way that we look at this Trinity? Do you think they're going to change the structure of it in any way?
I'd say it really makes it even more important because, like with AI overviews, for example, now that's been implemented across like a lot of Google search, like people are like, you're getting less traffic to your site. People are having smaller attention spans, chatting with ChatGPT instead, and not really getting to the website even, just seeing those summaries. So it's so important to actually have even more of that compelling messaging to get people to actually click through, and then once they get there, to really make the most of the attention and engagement.
Awesome. Thank you. We did have one question from Lindy. So how do you prioritize where to start when a company is weak in all three areas?
So of course, I guess there will always be limitations with resources and everything. So it comes back to what resources you might already have in each area and team members. So, and also what you're willing to spend. I definitely say that if you can align, say, your Google ads or your PPC and willing to put some money behind that, and you can actually make updates to your website quite quickly and implement changes, those can be a great place to just start together, and then that will help improve your SEO.
Great, thank you. Any other questions? Feel free to put any questions in the Q&A panel or in just the webinar chat, guys. Okay. Do you think personalization powered by AI will become the fourth pillar alongside SEO, PPC, and design?
That's an interesting question. I think that it's going to be more, and it's already happening now, like how we can bake in the personalization, like basically within each pillar, like having more segmentation, for example, in your PPC, you can personalize the messaging, potentially help use AI to do that. For design, having different pages for different segments, potentially keeping all your key personas in mind. So you're optimizing for all of that. So I'd say, basically it's more about how you can integrate it to make what you actually put out like more unique and more targeted to those personas.
Awesome. Can I just, to further that question, because it is an interesting one. So what you're essentially referring to is AI will just make SEO, PPC, and design more robust and provide more applications within that through the use of AI, as opposed to a whole separate section.
Yeah, I think with all the AI tools we have nowadays, there are lots of ways, you can actually use AI to personalize and segment a lot easier, with less work or much faster as well. So I really think more about, I guess, how we can use AI to supercharge, I guess, the insights that we can get from each channel and get more creative with the, like, say it could be the landing page visuals or a particular messaging in your copy.
Awesome. And just regarding, because you mentioned earlier the PPC kind of quality score and how we shouldn't be necessarily referring to specifically vanity scores and things like that. But in terms of that overall kind of PPC strategy or even just the UX strategy, is the landing page more important than any other page for any other particular reason? Then that's when the journey starts on a website.
For any page, I mean, if for any page on the website, if I had to pick one, I'd say it's always going to be the home page. That's going to be the most important. That's the one that most people will see first, will keep coming back to, and see that snapshot of the brand. So I'd say the home page, and then also the About Us page, our team. It seems obvious, but putting all the up-to-date info, having the credibility, having faces of the actual team, if possible, or really how we can showcase like your organization's values can really helps to build the trust, especially now. Yes, with could have more AI generated content that may not be as trustworthy, to really prove that everyone is more authentic and unique brand.
Mm. And I guess while we're on the AI train as well, in terms of a lot of the agents that you see nowadays automating kind of brand tone of voice and how brands display themselves online through their sites and things like that, do you see those as being kind of getting more traction, or do you think that there's still definitely always going to be a human element needed in that kind of brand voice and vision?
So what I'm definitely seeing, like, yeah, with more AI tools being used, potentially AI agents, it's so important, the first step to take, really feeding it as much as possible that's unique or first party about your brand, um, to be clear about how to get that unique voice. I definitely feel like that still needs to be prompted or trained in. That is from our human, from our real data. Um, so we definitely need that to train it and to keep refining it. Often I feel like currently without that, a lot of the tone of voices of what's coming out of AI content can sound quite similar, or like you see like the M dash and you know straight away as well.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome, thank you. Let's see if there's anything else in the Q&A. No. Yeah, look, any last minute questions from anyone in the audience for Georgia? Okay. So, how can businesses balance producing content for both traditional SEO rankings and AI-powered search experiences?
Yeah, so there's definitely a lot more to consider nowadays. So many platforms and yeah, AI search to consider. I think the reassuring thing I would say is if a business can still focus on building that unique content, like thought leadership content, and making that SEO content like not just for SEO, but you know, actually for customers, actually engaging content, that's going to still then be pulled a lot of the time into the, you know, into the AI overviews or into your generative engine too. So I'd say focusing on the fundamentals of unique, engaging content, making sure it's in different formats, like not just text-based, but also like visuals, video, potentially voice as well, and also making it really easy to understand for AI, like being clear in the structure, using like easy bullet points, lists, things like that. Make it really easy for your website content to also be put into the AI powered experiences. Essentially, that's yeah, a very quick overview, but that could be, I think, its own webinar as well.
That's good to keep in mind. We'll definitely have to keep that in the bank for potentially the next webinar we do, right? Um, awesome. So if there's any more questions, feel free to chuck them in. Otherwise, we might be getting a couple of minutes back at the end of this hour. So there we go. Nothing else. Great. Okay. Well, look, thank you so much, Georgia. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's been really informative, learning about the Trinity. I know a lot of it was, you said that a great deal of it seems very, you know, we we would assume that's the way that we think, but the way that I was thinking previous to this, not at all. There was a lot of kind of eye-opening moments. So thank you for that. And thank you for everyone who contributed and asked questions and everyone in the audience as well. Georgia, if you'd like to say anything before we sign off.
Yeah, thanks again for having me, and yeah, definitely feel free to connect. And yeah, it was great coming on to the webinar.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. I think this is gonna be where we sign off. Appreciate everyone for attending, and yeah, if you need to connect, feel free afterwards. But thank you.
All right. Thanks, Harvey.
Thanks. Have a good one.
You too.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.